HGTV has completely changed the real estate environment for homes. Hey, it's me, Katie. Today I want to talk about how do you stage your house on a budget. All right, before I begin, I want to make sure that you go and like and subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of great information coming out, a lot of great videos, and I really love to make sure that you don't miss anything that we're putting out. So how do you stage on a shoestring? Trying to stage your house before you go on the market actually is not as big of a deal as you may think. You may think it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars to buy all new furniture, new decorations, paint, fix everything up, and that's not actually how it works. What I'm going to talk to you about is we're going to fake it, take it, and make it. We're going to fake it. We're going to fake the house, we're going to take the pictures, and then we're going to make the money for you. My goal for you is to make sure that you do not spend too much money before you put your house on the market. So let's get into it. I want to tell you a story about my actual clients, Michael and Mary, who had been on the market for 6 months before they reached out to me. When they reached out to me, they had already fallen through 2 times on previous contracts, and they were really feeling frustrated. They were upset with their agent. They did not know how to get their house sold, and they had already moved out. So they were stressed, they had carrying costs, and they turned to me to say, listen, what do we need to do? So when I took this listing, it had already been on the market for 6 months. And if you know anything about the housing market, a house that has been on the market for that long will usually have issues selling because people see the long market time and they think, why isn't it sold? If nobody else wants to buy it, why would we want to buy it? So the first thing I needed to do was to reset and to talk to them about how are we going to reset? What are we going to do? Part of the issue was that the house had been overpriced. And if you watched my videos long enough to know, you know that I always talk about pricing. And they had started this house at $629, and that really was too high for the market. The appraised value would not have gotten that. Even if somebody had come in and had offered them that price, the house would not have appraised, and then the mortgage would not have been approved by the bank because the appraisal would have been too low. So after they had been on the market for $629, then they had started to reduce. And once they reduced under $600, they did actually get an offer, and then it fell through to bad negotiations. The buyers decided they changed their minds after the inspection. I wasn't really sure exactly what happened, but all I knew is they left. So then they went back on the market and they relisted the house for $545, and they did get another contract. I always talk about how reducing the price will always overcome any objections, of course. So they continued to reduce the price and they reduced it down to $545. They did get an offer, and that offer was pretty low. It was $520. Now these buyers were very difficult throughout the whole process, and they ended up pulling out of the deal as well. So now they're stuck. Now they've been under contract twice. Everybody's known that. They've been on the market for 6 months and their price started out too high. So when I first got the call from them, I did go and look at their pictures online, and their pictures were not good. The house did not present really well. And that was the very first thing I wanted to talk to them about, is how can we get your house to present better? The pictures were dark, they were not a premium quality, and the house just looked completely dated. And so when I sat down with them, I had to have a conversation about the condition of the home and how it was presented online and getting the buyers into the home. They felt like it looked fine because they lived there, they loved it, they didn't see any issues with the house. But I had to talk to them about the fact that the buyers nowadays are completely different when they went to buy their house, or even when I went to buy my house initially. The buyers nowadays can be very difficult, and the reason why is because HGTV has completely changed the real estate environment for homes. That's because when you turn on HGTV or you look at TikTok or Instagram of all these houses, they look gorgeous. They look beautiful. They don't look dull and dated. That's not what you're seeing in the media. Online, on TV, that's not what you're seeing. You're seeing these bright and light homes that are appealing to these buyers. And so because there are so many distractions nowadays for these buyers, you get 1 second. They're flipping through the video, they're seeing it, and they're moving on. So if your pictures do not look good, they will not stop to take a look at your house. So the very first thing is that your home has to look good for the pictures. Remember what I said, we're gonna fake it first with the staging, and then we're gonna take the pictures, take high quality pictures, and then we're gonna make your money. So one thing about this house is the buyers had a lot of built-in furniture, and this furniture had been put in like the 90s. And so it was dated and it was stuck in the house. Big desk furniture, big bedroom furniture. Young buyers did not want to see that. They did not want to have to spend to have somebody remove it, but it was worth it to get it out of the house. And when you're trying to get furniture out of your house, there are a lot of free places you can post, and people will come and actually take your stuff away for free. Facebook Marketplace is a great place to go. You can post stuff that you just want taken out of the house, and a lot of people will come for free and get rid of it. I was trying to get rid of a pool table. Yes, pool tables are expensive, but they're also extremely heavy. In order for me to get somebody to remove that pool table, probably would have cost me about $500. Instead, I posted on Facebook Marketplace for free, and somebody came and took it apart and took it away and hauled it away on their own for free. In addition, I probably had about 800 people reach out to me. Now, I could have sold that. Absolutely, I could have sold it for a couple $100s, but it would have been more difficult. And so I want you to think about getting rid of your stuff. You need to let go, and you need to think, maybe I just want to give this away for free to have somebody come and pick it up. So once they got over the idea that they love their built-in furniture, they started giving it away. They had people come in and take down their stuff. They also needed to replace their carpeting in some of the areas. Not in all of the areas, but in some of the areas, it looked just old and muddy a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of these previous pictures and my pictures, and I'm going to explain to you exactly how the changes were made and what we did, and then the end product. I want to go through these pictures with you and show you the differences, the little tiny differences that we made from when we didn't have it listed to when we did have it listed. Keep in mind, you want it to look as much like HGTV as possible, and that means light and bright, not a lot of personal stuff. You want people to envision their home. So let's take a look at these. So if you can see on the left over here, we have the picture that the other agent had used. And you can see that furniture there is not super attractive in there. This is very big. It looks a little bit older. In addition, you have this red chair, and you've got this unique artwork here as well, along with this big vase. It's fine, and in the house it looked fine. However, when you're looking at it as a buyer, it needs to look fresh. It needs to look bright. This is actually the same carpet and the same paint and the same lighting. What you're going to see is that with the higher quality photography, we were able to bring in the blue from the outside, and it made it fresher and brighter. In addition, you can see that the lighting looks better in this area. We had furniture brought in from a staging company. Now, this was not super high quality furniture. You need to keep that in mind. The furniture that they bring in is basically for show, but this looks better. They replaced the artwork here and here, and we got rid of the colors. So you can see the two pictures look totally different, but it is the exact same room. Let's take a look at the kitchen, the before and after picture of the kitchen. The kitchen was decent, and it wasn't super updated, but it was newer. You can see that the sellers had done some work in there. On the left, what you're going to notice is this valances right here. The valances were very distracting. We had removed those. In addition, we lightened it up with the photos, and we brought in different chairs. So while this room is not significantly different, you can see the couple of changes that we did. We also added this painting here and removed this one over here. So it's just a little more fresh and bright because we took down the valances and we took new pictures that were light and bright, premium photography. One thing about valances and curtains, I usually recommend taking them down. And people say, but we love these, they look great. What are people going to do when they move in? They won't have anything. I don't really care about that. What I care is about the pictures. And that's the one thing I'm always talking about. If your pictures don't look good and your house doesn't look good, you will not get people in the door. And that's again because the buyer pool has changed, where they are moving so fast. They are seeing so many thousands of images and technology on Instagram and Facebook and all their social media, that if your house doesn't look great when they're flipping through it, they will pass it by. So this is one of the best rooms, I think, with the transformation that we really didn't put any money into. So you can see the rooms look totally different. Again, they had a big sectional. In addition, in the background, they had all of these personal pictures, and they had this very unique painting here. The carpet was okay. It wasn't terrible. Somebody might want to replace that, but you can see it was just a huge, big gray spot. Again, the photography blew out this window here, and it made it very hard to see. It just didn't look great. So you can see that all we did was bring in these pieces of furniture right here, this plant, and added a rug on top of a rug. Now, a lot of you are going to say, why in the world would you add a rug on top of a rug? Well, because it looks better for pictures. That's it. Doesn't mean you'd live like that, but it does look better for pictures. Remember, fake it, take it, make it. You can also see up on the top here, it looks brighter and nice rather than this blown out look on the left. And they also added some additional lamps, which had a nice glow in the house as well, because this room did not have any overhead lighting except for this one over the piano, and that was not enough light for people to see when they came into the room when they were looking at the house. house. Let's talk about the dining room. Again, my clients really love how their house was decorated, and that was fine. It was a great house. However, again, you have to think about how the buyers look at it. And so if we look at these original pictures of the dining room, you're going to see they love this chandelier, but that's not really what the buyers are looking for. So all we did is we said, go out and replace the chandelier with this cheap one from Home Depot. I mean, that was cheap. And then we brought in new furniture. And that's all we did in this room. The painting was the same. The photography was high end. So you can see the difference that just the furniture makes. I will tell you, sometimes I have a completely empty room and the only thing in there is staged furniture and people think it's updated. The furniture does fake it for people. Bathrooms are a little harder, especially if they're not redone. But keep in mind, you want to make it look light and bright. So this room we did have painted, and you can see what a difference it made. We went from that kind of tannish, yellowish color to the white color. I will tell you that right now, any type of yellows in the photos make the house look a little dated. So if your house tends to go a little bit yellow on the paint, that's okay. The photographer can actually edit in post-production to make it a little bit cooler. So the warm colors are not going over real well in the pictures. You want it to be a cool color or a white or a bright. So you can see what we did is basically just painted this room, brightened it up, took different pictures, and put some accessories in there. And that was it. And what a difference this makes. This room, literally, the only thing changed is the furniture. We didn't paint, we didn't change carpet. All we did was change out the furniture. And now it looks contemporary. Now it looks like something a young buyer might be interested in, as opposed to the picture on the left. And this room had one of the biggest transitions that we had with the whole house. As you can see, the room on the left looks old. It looks tired. The valances look dated. And on the right, it looks bright. It looks fresh. We didn't change the carpet. We didn't change the paint. We faked it. Remember, we brought in furniture. We brought in other accessory lighting. We made it light. We made it bright, and we took new pictures. Now, I'm sure you're wondering how much all this staging costs. I'm sure you're thinking it costs tens of thousands of dollars to do all this and to change all this. And actually, the staging only cost $3,500 to do. They also painted a couple of rooms. They did replace carpet in one of the bedrooms as well. They all in were close to like $5,000 or $6,000 on getting the house ready to go on the market. However, if they had done this in the beginning and it had been priced correctly in the beginning, it probably would have sold for more than what we actually ended up selling it for. So after we did all of that work and we got new pictures and we had a fresh new look on the market, we relisted the house at $549. So we actually went up from the old price. I wanted to give it a new look. We were under contract and sold within 2 weeks for $545. So you can see that they made their money back with the staging. The other thing I want you to think about is how much were their carrying costs, their mortgage and their taxes and their upkeep. From the time they originally listed to the time that we actually closed was about 8 months. That is a lot of carrying costs. So when you're thinking about putting out $5,000 to $10,000 on staging and getting your house ready, I'm telling you, this is one of the things that you will get back, is that staging, that prepping, that getting it ready to go on the market. It will give you a return. Remember, fake it, take it, make it. Fake the house, take the pictures, make the money. As you start to think about how you're going to stage your house, I want you to do an exercise for me. I want you to go out to the street and I want you to look at your house as if a buyer were looking at it. And then I want you to walk in the door and I want you to look around as if you are a buyer. Because you are a seller, most likely you're also a buyer or you're moving into another place, which means that you've spent some time online looking at pictures. So now you know what those pictures look like. Now you know what you are drawn to. Now, what is your buyer going to be drawn to? Does your house look like HGTV? If it doesn't, you need to start working on that and you've got to get it done. So think like a buyer. Walk through your whole house. Look and see, does it look fresh? Does it look bright? If not, there are ways to fake it. Of course, what I always talk about is paint. Paint is the number one thing that you can give your house and you will get your return. I promise you, any paint that you put in, it's going to help your house sell quicker and for more money. So think light, bright. Don't think colors, don't think yellows. You want to make sure that you're going with a color that will shoot well. And if you don't know what one of those colors are, reach out to me, reach out to your agent. I've got a couple colors down below that you can check out as well that seem to shoot really, really well. As you're walking through your house, I'm sure you're thinking, oh, there is no way my house is going to look like HGTV. And I promise that if you go through these exercises, you're going to say, why didn't we do this sooner? You need to start by thinking, what am I going to get rid of? What do I not need? What are we not moving moving? What do I not want to pay to have packed or pay to have moved? That's the first thing. You need to start by thinking, what am I getting rid of? Because everybody thinks that their stuff is worth money and they'd like to sell it. And the reality is no one is going to buy your stuff. Some people will buy your stuff, but you literally have to be working at this full time in order to sell your furniture. It is a very, very difficult, daunting task. So I want you to think about how much is it worth to you to just give it away and not have the stress. You need to find your giveaway resource. You need to find your throwaway resource, and you need to find your selling resource. There are not many places that will sell your furniture. However, there are some estate sale companies that will come in and they will do everything for you. Again, your agent might have resources for you in that. That's if you've got a lot of stuff, or if maybe you're transitioning to a retirement home, or you're really, really downsizing. They will come in and take care of everything. They don't usually sell a lot of it. They will try and sell some of it, but they will get rid of it when you're done. And usually you can get a tax deduction for that as well. Your giveaway resource can be anybody really. Like I talked about on Facebook Marketplace, that's a great giveaway place. You can also use Craigslist. I personally found Marketplace to be a little more effective in the process that you have for the people who want to come and get your stuff. Now you can also try selling some things there. If you can sell it on Facebook Marketplace, do it. In our area, there is a group that is a not-for-profit that will come and pick up all of your junk, but they actually rehome it. So they will take it and they will put it in a warehouse, and they allow people who are transitioning into new homes, who maybe have been homeless or in prison or things like that, to come in and choose their furniture, and then they can furnish their new homes. You can also get a tax deduction from that. That, however, you do have to pay for them to come and pick up your stuff, but it is something that's worthwhile, and it does save you on the stress and the energy of having to get rid of it yourself. Again, if you're in the Chicagoland area, I've put that link below. There are lots of places that can do this as well. Also, junk resources. You can just pay to have your junk hauled away. They come in and they take everything. As you walk through your house, if you're seeing stuff that you know is just maybe a little too much clutter or too many pictures, go ahead and pack it up. Yes, you are moving. I know you're saying, we don't want to take this down. Pack it up. If we remove these pictures, there's going to be too many holes in the walls. Pack it up. Typically, when you have holes in the wall from paintings and pictures, they're very, very tiny and people do not even notice them. So if you take them off, you do not need to repaint the wall. You do not need to patch. Ask your agent. You typically do not have to do that. Get rid of all of your personal stuff, all of your belongings that make it unique to you. One thing people hate is when they go into a bedroom and it smells not fresh. And that's usually because maybe the bedding hasn't been washed or the pillows are old. That really turns people off. And I would say one of the things you have to do is find some cheap bedding and replace it. Get rid of your old pillows, put on new pillows, cover your old blanket with a new blanket if you don't want to use this. But you need to make sure your bedding looks fresh. Now that I've said this, when you start to look at pictures, you're going to go through and see which bedding looks fresh, because people get the heebie-jeebies when they come in and the bedding is not fresh. New towels. New towels are another thing. People don't really like walking in and seeing the towels that you just dried off with in your shower. I would suggest that you buy towels just for showings. Make them white, make them crisp, make sure that they fold over, they look real nice on there. Don't have towels hanging all over the place. People don't like that either. And remember, the colors need to be white and bright. This is for pictures. Pictures will showcase better when it's light and bright. Rugs, cheap rugs. Those are a great way to change your room around. Just like I showed you in that one, that was a very cheap rug that we had staged. We threw it over the gray carpeting and it completely changed the whole room. Keep that in mind. Also, it's very hard to have rugs that are colors in your house. And this is for pictures. So if you have bright reds or oranges, colors that look good with your house, and especially if you have hardwood underneath them, you need to remove those rugs. The rugs just do not shoot well. And your rug may be the most beautiful rug and the most expensive rug you've ever had, but I'm telling you, the buyers do not want to see that. They want to see fresh, they want to see bright. If you have hardwood, they want to see the hardwood. I always recommend, if you have hardwood, take up as many rugs as you can to showcase the hardwood. It's going to look better in pictures. Lamps are a great accessory to just change the room because it brings the lighting source in a different location than overhead. Also, if you only have a couple of lamps in a room, you have to have your lamps on for showings. You want to make sure that it's light and bright. So the more lights you have, the better. And you want it to be a nice, soft light, not the really hard light. You're trying to create this ambiance, this energy. Think of mood lighting in a restaurant. You want it to feel good. You want that energy when people are walking in. Remember, faking it. We are faking it. And less is more. Less is more for the pictures. You definitely want it to be clean and sparse. Now, some people, when I've talked to them about removing stuff from their bookcases or their furniture, they end up removing and everything. You don't have to remove everything. It just needs to look artistic, and you need to have it set up in a way that looks nice and pleasing to the eye. If you need help, your agent can certainly do it, or you can find some type of a stager to do it. Keep in mind that if you are hiring an outright decorator to help you stage, it's probably not the right way to go. The reason is that decorators are not aware necessarily of what looks good in photos, what looks good with the buyers as they're walking through. So you may have an excellent decorator, but you may need the eye of a stager or your agent to say that is not going to show well in pictures. You may have the most beautiful piece ever, and if it doesn't show well in pictures or doesn't show well at the showings, it's not going to help you. You do not need to love the way your house looks. Your buyers need to love the way your house looks. One last thing, many of you may go the way of for sale by owner or try to sell a house yourself. And if you skip over these important aspects, specifically with your pictures, you will have a very hard time selling your house for the highest amount of money in the least amount of time. Real estate agents understand what sells. They understand how people walk through a house. So you may think all I need are pictures. I have never seen a for sale by owner or somebody selling it themselves who had pictures as good as mine. And that's because we use people that only shoot rooms. I got my degree in photography. Surprise, I know. And I will never shoot a room. I will never use my own camera to shoot a room. And that's because of the process. It's because of the angle. It's because After Effects and the post-processing and combining the pictures together to make sure that the inside of the home and the outside of the home both have the right lighting. So if you are trying to shoot this yourself, it's just not going to work. I'm telling you, the people who are shooting these homes have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of shots under their belt compared to you who doesn't. So don't try shooting it yourself. Go back to what I said. We're going to fake it. You're going to fake it with the staging. You're going to take it. You're going to take high quality pictures, and then you're going to make it. You're going to make the money that you should be making when you go to sell your house. I hope you like this video. If you've enjoyed this, please go down, do me a favor, like and subscribe this. If you've been here till the end, I'm sure you don't want to miss my next video talking about all things home related, how to sell your home, how to buy a home. Please like and subscribe, click below. Thanks for watching, and if you know, you know.